Welcome back. Observing the other day Zelensky's video for joining the NATO in similar to two goons which came out of American wrestling bushwhackers. Really funny. What really could stun you is the end, says, "Thank you for the presence of NATO in my country to liberate my country from the Russian invaders." Well, that was all a publicity stunt. If attentive observers had seen through it. Well, NATO didn't accept his application. Not on your van, Nelly, mate. You've got currently a war in your country, and you've been fighting against your own people within your own country for the last 8 years and killing people. Around about 15,000 Ukrainian civilians. And if Zelensky invaded another country, yes, they would welcome him with their arms wide open to join NATO. Seeing you never done it, they said, sod off, do your homework and try another time, okay? And the fact is, these Ukrainians and God knows what Western collectives or these so-called generals and military experts saying yes, they're winning, Russians are losing ground. Have you ever thought these people had worked for these military complexes in the past or have stocks? I should ask them a few questions. The fact is, these military experts should know more better. The tactics what the Russians use is what the same tactics which Napoleon used against the Austrians and Russians and the Belarusians more than 200 years ago. Then and Napoleon had the great idea invading Russia, and that went pretty bad at that time. Basically, you fool your enemy, you're retreating, abandoning places, occupying non-strategic points. Just being a decoy and say, come here, come here, come here. This is a tactic which Russians been using for all the time. Then they surrounded them and they come in for the big crunch. To say the Russians are losing, you cannot say, because 15 to 20% of the Ukrainian territory are now under the Russian Federation now. Through a democratic referendum, no one was forced to vote at gunpoint. And it seems like the population are, happy with this than the predecessor of being under Kiev's administration. And the fact of this thing is, they're saying Putin can use nuclear weapons. What country in the world in our history has used nuclear weapons? Is it hard to remember? Do you remember Hiroshima and Nagasaki? There's a piece of history books. The Japanese were already at the negotiating table, surrendering before these bombs were dropped. The bombs then decided their defeat. It's practically a practical demonstration how America achieved a military superiority from 45 and onwards, and obviously other countries throughout the decades they catched up. And the fact is, they continue poking the Russian bear, and obviously the Western warmongers they want a nuclear war at all costs. But it's the globalists will be delighted. Yes, we can depopulation the world by a few billion people. NATO and the West, when it comes to nuclear weapons technology, they got old stuff. They even said it themselves. You can't even guarantee if the last minute man rocket takes off out of its silos or not. And probably they're just waiting for the occasion. Putin makes a false step. I don't think so. He's very cautious and he knows what he's pretty doing. You should ask the Western collective what the bloody hell they're doing. They want to drag Europe into a war against Russia and Ukraine. What better way of dragging in? It's creating an economical and energy crisis in Europe. People begin to riot, they begin to be brainwashed, and afterwards the people will be brainwashed to have their consent. We want war, we want war. And this is basically what happened in the Second World War, basically. There was a period of depression, economical hardship and that. Then afterwards you've got these people drumming up support for war. They're the blames for your hardship and this and that. How far are they going to take this thing? To the extreme? Only time can tell.